G'day there guys, it's your Aussie hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now, if you love me like I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to tackle that like button like Steve Irwin would tackle a bloody crocodile. And maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments, maybe a crocodile down in the comments, who knows. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Posted by user ConfusedDad28. Titled, Am I the a-hole for forcing a confession out of my wife about spying on my kids' therapy sessions? So for those that don't know, I have two children, male 20 and female 19, and ever since the world went to hell, I got them therapy sessions at their requests, because they said that this was taking a huge toll on them. On Wednesday, when my daughter went to attend the Zoom session, my wife had left to go take a nap. I didn't think much of it, but she came back exactly 3 hours later after both of them finished looking sad. Today, the same thing happened, and when I went to wake her up for dinner today, I found her watching a recording of my daughter's session. I lost it. That conversation was supposed to be private. We had promised our kids that we will respect their privacy and do our best to help them when they need it. I made her confess to our kids and told her. They were heartbroken and they hate her. She claims that it's my fault, but she dug her own grave. Both of them feel betrayed and don't want anything to do with their mother. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for forcing a confession? Edit. For those wondering about her intention for spying on the kids, she hasn't said a word about it. Just got up and left saying, I don't need to take this crap. Huh, man, where have I heard those words before? Jesus. No, absolutely not the a-hole for that. The wife is a serious a-hole for spying on the kids. Who does that? You cannot just breach your child's trust like that. That is disgusting, and absolutely she should apologize, but she doesn't want the embarrassment of going through it, and she deserves what she gets for doing those things. Would you like it if everyone was going through your therapy sessions? Like, that's an absolute breach of privacy. That's disgusting behavior. Not the a-hole. Therapy is confidential for a reason. As you said, if she doesn't want her kids to hate her, she shouldn't have spied on them in the first place. Not the a-hole, exactly. This is a serious breaking of trust. That's not just listening in on a secret. Those kids thought they could talk because only the therapist was listening. Using that to her advantage is not just looking out for the kids, it borders on sociopathy. I think she needs that therapist at least as much as the kids, probably a lot more. OP, on the other hand, props for making her confess. Many would have kept that to themselves. At least family counseling so the kids can have a healthy way of explaining the huge violation of privacy the mum did, and maybe a healthy way of cutting her out of their lives if they decide to do that. And this is not for the mother or OP's sake, but for the kids. Not the a-hole. This was such a massive violation of trust that I have to wonder what else she's done. This is sick behavior, and your wife needs her own therapist. This is not your fault. It sounds like you handled it really well. Your kids are adults. They deserve to know how badly their trust had been violated, and I don't blame them for not wanting to speak to her. She needs to apologize and do some real work to make reparations. The fact that she's blaming you means she doesn't really think what she did is wrong, and that's disturbing in and of itself. Don't apologize, and if you hadn't told the kids yourself what you found out, you also would have been violating their trust. This way, they still have you, and they know you have their back. She absolutely needs to see what she did was horrible and probably unforgivable. The kids may change their minds about completely hating her, but she's going to have to do the work to make it up to them, and in all honesty, this is bad enough that she isn't going to be able to make it up exactly, but she needs to do everything in her power to show that she's worthy of their vulnerability and trust again, which will take a long time. I'm glad the kids have you. Please be there for them as an ear and comfort, and don't act as a go-between with your wife or try to convince them to give her a chance. She needs to do all that work on her own. Posted by user RedJedge, titled, Am I the a-hole for only going out to eat with my uncle after the rest of the family disagreed with my restaurant of choice? I, female 21, am currently living with my uncle and his family while I attend university. In my family, it's tradition for everyone to invite out their family for their birthday. The person celebrating their birthday pays. That's fair enough, I did that for my 21st. My birthday was yesterday, and luckily restaurants here have already opened up. About a week in advance, I chose a Moroccan couscous restaurant and made a reservation. I briefly mentioned it to the rest of the family at dinner, but I don't think most of them were listening. 2 days ago, I reminded everybody where we were going. Everybody except for my uncle started to complain about the choice. My extremely picky cousin, 17, apparently hates Moroccan food, even though I don't think he's ever tried it. Don't you love those types of people? They piss me off so much. My aunt is uncomfortable with going to that kind of restaurant. My other cousin, 26, is a vegan and didn't think he would be able to eat a lot of things, and his girlfriend didn't want to eat there because she's on a raw food diet. My other cousin is apparently on a diet and didn't want to go somewhere where she could get a salad. I don't think any restaurant in the world caters to these people as a collective. Jesus. It didn't really bother me that they disagreed with my choice, but what bothered me was that they hadn't even tried the food or looked at the menu, but already didn't want to go. They asked me to change my choice, and instead that we could go to a nearby restaurant that they go to every week and that I don't really like. I refused and said they just didn't have to come. Only my uncle came with me when we went to the restaurant yesterday, which I'm happy about because I know the rest of the family would have done nothing but complain. It was delicious, and it was nice eating with an actually adventurous person for once. Now the rest of the family is angry at us because birthday meals usually include the whole family, and they think it's inconsiderate for us to have eaten without them. I think it's their fault for not even wanting to try it. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Thank you everyone for your judgments. I saw a lot of people confused about paying when it's your birthday. Where I'm from, it's the custom. Not just in my family, but everywhere. I think it's a nice custom. That way no guest worries about not being able to pay, and it's nice to be able to pay for family and friends to have a nice meal. Absolutely not the a-hole in this situation. My god, the standards for these people as a collective is so incredibly high, even SpaceX is looking to reach those heights one day. But yeah, we can leave that one for after Mars, surely. Dear Lord, I can't imagine having to cater for these people. Even a few dietary restrictions for some people is enough for me to be like, sorry, buddy, you're gonna have to sit out this one. This is too many for me. I'm not saying that I intentionally exclude people. Absolutely not. It's just that it can make it very hard. I can't fathom what this OP is going through with that many. Definitely not the a-hole in this situation. They are the problem, not you, OP. It's okay to break up with that girlfriend. It's alright. Not the a-hole. Also, isn't a lot of Moroccan food plant-based and healthy? I was wondering that, as I was pretty sure a vegan and dieters should have had a few options. The trouble is that they would have to put in effort to pick something new. Oh, Jesus! Hummus and falafel is some of the best vegan food available. Yeah, as a vegan, a Moroccan restaurant is far better option than the average restaurant around the corner. Oh no, I haven't been to a restaurant in 3 months, and you just reminded me of my favorite Moroccan place just 10 minutes drive away. Suddenly hungry. Of all the things this virus has done, I know that narrow restaurant choice is practically the least important thing going on right now. That being said, I would be willing to commit a serious crime for some decent pho or Thai, or to have the Indian restaurant near me open right now. Not the a-hole. Also, your uncle is a good man. I heard he likes tea and gives a lot of good advice. I heard he also carries around a White Lotus chip. Wonder who that was. Not the a-hole. Your birthday, you're paying, your choice, your uncle's a good guy, and to go with you, and I'm glad you had a nice time. Probably best if the complainers stay home anyway. Besides, it looks like they just wanted a free meal rather than to celebrate with you. Yeah, I'd say not the a-hole solely because it's your birthday, and in my family, it's your day. If you're paying too, and you're a 21-year-old college student, definitely not the a-hole, your choice. I wouldn't even say solely because of that. If I remove the birthday from it and it's just, I'm going to this Moroccan restaurant, everyone coming, my treat, and nobody else wanted to go, but the uncle said, I'll go, they would still be not the a-hole, regardless of whether it's her birthday or not. Posted by user Il10, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I regret having our children and telling my daughter I never wanted her? How do you spin this one into a not the a-hole? That's what I want to know. I, female 24, have 4 children. I had my first when I was 19. My children are 5 female, 3 female, 2 female, and 1 male. All of our children have been planned, but it's always been my husband pushing to have another. If he'd have let me, I would have stopped after our oldest. I never really wanted to be a mum, and don't feel as though I connect with them very well. Ooh, maybe that should have been addressed after the first kid. A few nights ago, I was putting my eldest daughter to sleep when she started asking me loads of questions. She's a really curious little girl. I had a traumatic birth with her and postnatal depression, so always struggled with bonding, and still do struggle connecting with her. She told me she wants lots of babies when she's older, and then asked me how many I wanted when I was her age. I told her I didn't want any, and that I didn't even want any when I had her. I know she's only 5, but she's massively misinterpreted it and got upset. Misinterpreted, very interesting word, that one there. I comforted her and put her back to sleep. In the morning, she must have told her father what had happened when he was making her breakfast, as I woke up to my husband absolutely furious with me for traumatizing our daughter and damaging her self-esteem. I told him she would be fine, but he kept shouting at me, telling me I was an awful mother. I replied that it's hard being a good mother to kids you regret having. He asked me if I was being serious, and I said that I was being impulsive when I said that, but that I didn't want them and he knew that. He left the room absolutely furious and took the kids to his parents' house. Am I the a-hole? Look, I'm really glad this is a throwaway account and that no one can be identified through this post, because that would absolutely destroy the family structure if it got out further. My God. I think one thing to consider is the postnatal depression, and we've seen the effects that it does have on people. Absolutely, that would be a factor in this one, as she has said. She's even pointed it out, so she understands that is a big factor. This is a very messy situation. Unfortunately, I do think, for her actions and her words, OP is the a-hole, and I really do hope she gets help. Your daughter didn't massively misinterpret what you said. You were incredibly inappropriate and hurtful to your small child, your daughter, your 5-year-old, who is tender and your responsibility. You need to get help, get counseling, figure out how to address your issues before you hurt your kids any more than you are. And meantime, don't have any more until you want them. You're the a-hole. If the kid didn't interpret it in some way or other, she wouldn't be so upset, so yeah, 100% an a-hole. If I were OP's partner, I'd be tempted to up and leave and raise them away from such callous parenting. Same. I had 3 kids in 3 years, starting when I was 19. And yeah, it's been hard, I get that. I would never tell my 6-year-old I regret her, and I don't, even if things are hard sometimes. My husband and I occasionally joke that we could have stopped at 1 when the younger 2 act up, but if my husband ever seriously said what OP said, I would be ticked. I'm 37 and still remember the day my mum said she hadn't wanted kids, but did it to please my father. She also said I misinterpreted her. You're the a-hole for traumatizing that poor baby. You're the a-hole. I told her I didn't even want any when I had her. She massively interpreted it. It sounds like she interpreted it pretty accurately. Please seek therapy. I know you've struggled, but you can't dump that burden on your children, and whether you feel a bond with them or not, they need love. I definitely agree with this. Unlike the other commenters here, I am refraining from calling OP an a-hole, even though her action technically merits it, because it is clear to me that she needs help. You're sure as heck right she needs help, and I hope she seeks it, but I'm gonna call her a huge a-hole for not seeking that help after the first, or even second, but still bringing another 2 into this. I understand completely how the mind can take over, but that is so unbelievably hurtful for a child of 5 to hear. Yeah, this, and that she told her husband she'll get over it the following morning, is just really cold, like she has no remorse for hurting her daughter with her words. Because she doesn't see that child as her daughter, and at that stage she's at, she doesn't really care either. I've had postnatal depression, and it was my own personal hell on earth. I was an empty shell, broken, tired, and guilty that I wasn't bonding with my baby. I tried and tried and tried. I knew it wasn't their fault, but that kid wasn't my kid. To postnatal depression, that baby is just a hindrance in your life, and a hindrance that you can't connect with for some reason. It's honest to God fudging awful. I feel really crap for OP, and I also feel really crap for her daughter too. saying what she said to her daughter is 100% a-hole material. However, when you are suffering from postnatal depression or postnatal psychosis, this is exactly what happens. It's so easy to fall into it. I've had depression when I was 18, and postnatal depression after having my baby nearly 10 years later, and they are vastly different. To me, they definitely were. OP has severe postnatal depression, and that doesn't make her the a-hole. All I'm saying is I can understand where she's coming from, as cruel as it is objectively. It's crap for everyone involved here. People are expecting her to be a mother and see the cruelty, but she doesn't. She can't see it because she can't feel fudging anything. She will feel absolutely nothing about nobody, not even herself. She won't feel remorse until a momentary lapse of lucidity, but that will be quickly washed away. That kid is just a kid to her, and she doesn't understand her or know her. It feels like suddenly being given a child by a stranger and being expected to be a glowing mother about it. It's really hard to see when you have postnatal depression. Never mind reproductive coercion, as someone else has mentioned in the comments. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Posted by user Rishlskusnelzjikbuz, titled, "Am I the a-hole for saying I don't care about authentic Italian food? I like Domino's pizza and I order it once a month. That's authentic Italian. I know it's a bit expensive, I know it isn't very authentic, I know it isn't healthy. I also don't care. For me, it hits the spot and I enjoy it, and that's amore. My housemate and good friend's Italian girlfriend, every time I get Domino's, has to mention how it isn't actually good pizza or very Italian. Every single time. I actually love Domino's. It also extends to when I make Italian food like pasta or spaghetti. We take turns to cook for the whole house, mentioning I didn't add this ingredient or use this process. I've asked her a couple of times to show me what I'm doing wrong, but stuff always seems to come up. Now, she's otherwise a pretty solid person, but I just find this behavior incredibly rude. I ordered pizza again today, and she again commented about how it wasn't authentic. I had enough and told her I didn't give a frick what was authentic or not. I just wanted to enjoy my Domino's. She told me as an Italian, she had to say something when she saw bad Italian food, like the pizza or my pasta. Hot take, that's just as bad as being a vegan that calls people out. I told her that if I, as the son of Indians, could eat what she alleged to be a chicken korma, it was sweet for some reason, and say nothing at the time, she could eat my pasta and stay silent. I'm aware that was perhaps a bit petty and rude, but to be honest, I'm pretty done with her inane comments. My roommate is annoyed at the both of us saying we need to make up, but honestly I'm still pretty annoyed with her. As I see it, the only harm I'm doing with my Domino's is to the waistline, but that has no bearing on her. What is it with people gatekeeping foods? Why is that still a thing? Do you feel that self-righteous about yourself that you have to be like, you can't even make that because you didn't do it the way that I agree that Italians do it, so throw it all out. No, I'm better than you. No, absolutely, OP is not the a-hole in this situation at all. That friend is a piece of work, and I wonder why he keeps them around. There's got to be some redeeming qualities about that woman, surely, because I wouldn't put up with that. I absolutely would not. I just slowly cut them out of my life. That is to say they didn't reform after I brought it up with them. If they continued to put me under that, I'd be like, alright, see you later. Oodles of Schmoodles says, the American Italian food is the way it is because when the Italian immigrants came here, they had access to many of the ingredients that were not as easy to come by at home. So they started using it in an abundance. It is authentic, but it's authentic Italian-American immigrant food. She can get off her high horse, not the a-hole. But also, Jesus H. Tap Dancing Christ. It's Domino's. No one is mistaking Domino's for authentic. It's cheap, if you carry out, pizza that is pretty tasty for what it costs. As an Italian, she had to say something. Lamau, what? No, she didn't. There is no sacred oath that every person of Italian descent has to uphold regarding to preparation of pizza or pasta. She needs to sit all the way down and shut her entire damn mouth. Not only is she an a-hole, your roommate is an a-hole for inflicting her on you. She is evidently an Italian that doesn't actually know what she's talking about, or she'd have taken OP up on his offer to teach him. Seriously though, who actually considers Domino's to be Italian? Yeah, it's pizza, but some toppings on bread isn't something new, and pizza has changed to the point I can get one with a mayonnaise base. It's not exclusively Italian. Waste My Time Xchell says, not the a-hole. I'm Mexican and I like Taco Bell. I'm not getting it because it's authentic Mexican food. I get it because it's crappy Americanized food that tastes good. You like what you like. At no point did you say, I'm gonna get this super authentic Italian food and show up with Domino's. Your roommates are being righteous jerks. I'm the same. Mexican American, but I still like Taco Bell because it tastes good and it's cheap. If I want authentic, I can make it myself or go to a couple places I know of that are fine. Posted by user Throwaway Dad BFOO, titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling my dad I'm gay? So, I'm gay. I've come out to my parents when I was 14. My mum was distraught and my dad didn't seem to care. My mum was mad at me for over 2 months, but eventually came to terms with it. Though she does make passive-aggressive remarks saying she can't wait for me to marry a girl and whatever. She still thinks about my boyfriend from time to time, and she's still amicable towards me, so it's all good. My dad and I don't talk too often. Only when we work on things together do we really talk. He often makes comments on what traits are attractive in a girl, what kind of girl to marry, etc., etc. When I was 15, I told my dad in a sort of awkward way, Dad, I'm dating Mike. He's been my boyfriend for 2 years. And he seemed to just brush it off and continued to talk about girls. And well, I didn't correct him going forward. Last night, I told my mum me and Mike would be moving in together, and we're probably getting married soon. We're 23 and 23. 23 and me, haha, good joke. I know it seems a bit early, but we've been dating each other for like 10 years now, and well, we still like each other, so that's probably a good sign. My mum was extremely upset, as although she still supported me, she still hoped that I'd change my mind and marry a girl. But again, she's not aggressively harsh towards me, and we're still in good terms, so it's not a big deal. My dad, however, apparently just found out I was gay. He was extremely upset with me and asked me why I didn't tell him sooner, so he could change my mind and prepare for this. Whoa! I sort of just told him, well, Dad, I did. Twice. But he apparently had no memory of this. He was furious at me for not giving him time to prepare for the loss of his son, and well, I kinda expected this eventually. A lot earlier, honestly. Okay. Am I the a-hole for not pressuring this matter earlier? I've been comfortable with my sexuality for a long time, and I guess I could have pressed in the fact as over the past 8 or so years, I've sort of been leading my dad on by not correcting him. Edit, hi everyone. Didn't expect this post to get so much attention. For those asking why I even felt I was even close to being an ass, that is because I felt like I owed it to my parents to make sure they knew the truth. And well, I didn't really do that. They come from a different time and different culture, so being gay was seen as something fundamentally wrong with the parents as well as the son, and I didn't feel like being a dick and making sure they knew their son was gay. Honestly, I never felt like my mum was a problem, because I've heard countless stories of how kids were being thrown out and cut off for being gay. I took a huge risk by telling my parents I was gay when I was younger. Honestly, I don't think I could do that again. And I felt so fortunate that my parents didn't disown me and still helped me through college. They have met my boyfriend, except he was just teaching me biology for a few months when we first started dating, before they stopped him from coming over, because they said we were just playing video games. Since then, well, they've met like one time during the summer when he picked me up to go somewhere, and they wanted to be polite and said hi to my friend, but other than that, we've never sat down and formally talked about our relationship. Honestly, now that I'm typing this out, that does seem a bit weird, but I mean, that's just how life goes. Going forward, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I'm pretty independent now, so it doesn't concern me too much. And to those congratulating me on my 10 years, thanks. We've broken up once or twice back in college, but it's been smooth sailing for the past 5 to 6 years. There is so many comments that I'd love to reply to, but I feel that making this edit should clarify a lot of questions people have asked. Again, thank you for your support. I really didn't think this would get so much traction, but thanks for making me feel better. And absolutely, OP is not the a-hole in this situation. I can understand why they would think they are for covering it up. But can anyone seriously blame him with the ominous, ever-present threat of being disowned by your family at 13 years old? Like, people would do that. They would do that, and they'd be like, go live with other family. But can you trust that other family to even look out for you in that situation? I can see why he would cover that up, and it's probably going to lead to this OP cutting contact with his dad, maybe his mum, if the mum doesn't reform or accept it, and that's just life, as he said. Not the a-hole. Your dad didn't lose his son because he's gay. He's losing his son because he can't get his head out of his own ass. The only one that should be angry here is you. And OP's been with his boyfriend for 10 years. It's bonkers. Yeah, what kind of parent is that in the dark about what their kids are doing? I guess he was in denial and thought that by commenting about how hot women are, it would change OP's mind. Parents who turn a blind eye at every turn, even though the facts is literally in their face. Not the a-hole. You did tell your father multiple times. It's not your fault he brushed you off because you were telling him something he wasn't willing to hear. I'm so glad that my son and his boyfriend are both straight. How are people that dense? It's deliberate. If they don't want to hear it, then it was never said. They don't care that they are harming others with their attitude as long as they themselves are happy. I understand that, I just don't get the mental gymnastics. I can't comprehend getting to that level of absolute ignorance that you can force yourself not to notice something for literally a decade. It's more commonplace than you'd think. Slavery was socially acceptable for a very long time. People didn't want to see the slaves as people. Even right now, the majority of people are actively harming the environment with their choices. People don't want to change or accept change when it inconveniences them. G'day there guys, Outro Markee here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Now with that said, we have some special mentions. Everyone that signed up for my Patreon, everyone that's a channel member, you guys all know who you are. I'm going to start putting you on screen in the near future. Sorry, I'm very lazy, but I do love each and every one of you, and you all know that. If you want to join, there is links down in the description below. If you want to be a channel member, there's a join button next to subscribe. It helps me out immensely. Also, I have a second channel that does memes. It's called Markee 2. It should be on screen here now. If you like memes and you want to laugh with me, it's some not so politically correct content all the time. Hope you enjoy it. Click on the screen, subscribe, and enjoy the memes. That's all I have for today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.